Okay, so unit first has been completed, and we already studied about the dicot root, monocot root, and dicot stem leaf, and monocot stem or leaf. So these all the anatomical portion has been done. Now we will see the unit in the unit second about the secondary growth. Okay, now we have to see how the secondary growth occurs inside the plant. So basically, there are two type of the growth which is present inside the plant. First is the primary growth, which help the plant to increase in the length portion. But if we are talking about the secondary growth, they are basically designed inside the plant for increasing their girth portion. Okay, so girth portion will be increased by the secondary growth, and the primary growth responsible for the length of the plant. So this secondary growth, their major, you can say, their core of origin is based on the formation of cambium. So if there is no cambium inside a plant, then there will be no secondary growth take place. But if the presence of cambium inside any kind of plant, then they are responsible for the secondary growth. So if we wanted to study about the secondary growth, so we have to see how their cambium work, or what is cambium, how they will going to originate, duration, and their function. So these were going to be our following objectives in this lecture. Like we have to study their origin, time and formation of their duration, and function of the cambium. So now we will see. Very first, if we talk about a general introduction of the vascular cambium, so they are the main growth tissue in the stem and root of many plants, and especially in the dicots. So why we are calling them the in the especially in dicots? Because only dicot plants are responsible for the secondary growth. So this vascular cambium, that's why we call them their main growth tissue inside the dicots, because for their whole lateral growth position, these vascular bundle are necessary thing. So in especially in dicots such as buttercups and oak trees, they are example of some dicots, and gymnosperms such as pine trees, they are having the well vascular plant, or you can say they are very well developed growth pattern of vascular cambiums seen in this kind of the plant. So they produce the secondary xylem inwards and towards the bed, and secondary phloem outward and towards the bar. So if we see in what manner vascular bundle producing these secondary tissue, so we know that the secondary xylem always form inside to the cambium, like in inward condition towards the pith position, and secondary phloem towards the bark position or towards the periphery. This we can also see in the diagram also. Like if this is a cambium, okay, this ring, that is the cambium. So if we see the inner side of the cambium, in this side, this is the pith portion, and towards the pith portion there will be the formation of the xylem, and this the phloem, that is the outwards. Okay, this is the periphery or outer membrane. So majorly phloem will be formed towards the periphery, and xylem will be formed towards the center. So this is a major growth direction that will be formed inside the cambium, that xylem always produce inside toward inside or towards the pith, and phloem always form towards the periphery, or you can say the outer in position. Now, if we talk about the origin of cambium, how cambium originate inside our dicotyledon plant body. So their primary vascular skeleton, that is built up the maturing the cells of the procambium strands. So as we already studied in the meristematic tissue, okay, the meristematic tissue, we are having that inner layer. If we are talking about the apical cell theory, histogen theory, corpus capi theory, so basically their innermost fundamental membrane, they they are basically form, or you can say devoted to design the procambium lesion. So that this our cambium for the secondary growth cambium, that will be developed by, or you can say they will be built by the cells of or mature cells of the procambium strands. So these procambium strands, they are very primitively present inside a plant body. via the meristematic tissues. And these procambium strands, when they get matured, they will be converting into the cambium tissues. Or these procambium strand basically very initially, if we talk about the cambium in a primary growth formation like the pteridophytes plant, they are having the vascular bundle inside them, but they do not show the secondary growth. So at what happened in that case? So procambium will be formed inside them, okay? But procambium at the position of the pteridophyte, procambium are going to make the xylem and phloem only. They will not do the cambium formation, but they are responsible for the formation of the xylem and phloem. All the cells of procambium strands mature and develop into the vascular tissue. Now, what happens if the plant do not have to show the secondary growth? Then they are just remain with the xylem and phloem cells. But if the plant is dicotyledon or they needed to show the secondary growth, at what condition they needed to make the cambium cells inside them? So these cambium cell basically originated from the procambium cell only. So in the plant which has secondary growth later on, a part of the procambium strand remain meristematic and give rise to cambium proper. So if we are having a plant which are going to show the secondary growth, so in that condition, these procambium strand they remain meristematic. Okay, the meristematic cell can give rise anything. We know that meristematic cell are just for the dividation process. They just divide and form something. So that's why some of the procambium region that remain meristematic, and when it is time to do the secondary growth, they will start to make the cambium proper. So in roots, the formation of cambium differ from in the stem because of their radial arrangement of the alternating xylem and phloem strands. So there will be some difference, like if we are talking about the secondary growth inside the stem and the secondary growth inside the root. So these two are very different things because of the arrangement of xylem and phloem. In the formation of the stem, the xylem and phloem present parallelly to each other. Okay, they make a ring and they present parallelly. But in the case of root, they present radially in an alternating fashion, like the xylem inside, then phloem, then xylem. So that's why they are for the because of their arrangement process, these are having some different way of maturing into the cambium. You can see some procambium tissue here in our diagram A. This is a procambium tissue. Okay, this procambium now they are having this growth tissue inside them and immature sieve tubes. So this is the first. You can say these are the primary xylem here. So basically, these are the primary xylem, and primary xylem have to be converted when the time is for the secondary growth. They will convert it into the secondary xylem, but for that we needed a cambium to form inside them. So here in the B section, some mature sieve tube. So you can see that this initial xylem and initial phloem, or you can say the primary xylem or primary phloem, they are made up of the procambium tissues. This procambium are responsible for the formation of primary xylem and primary phloem. And after having the some maturity, they are like converting into the xylem elements. So this is a formation of primary xylem tissue from the procambium. Now, if we talk about the cambium, so we needed to be very clear with these two terms, okay, fascicular and intrafascicular cambium. They are a major role to play inside the cambium formation and also the secondary growth. So these two part, they are the two part of the cambium. Okay, or you can say there are two type of cambium inside present inside the dicotyledon plant. So these cambium are the fascicular and interfascicular. So let's see what is fascicular cambium and what is interfascicular cambium. So, in the stem, the first procambium that develop from promeristem is usually found in the form of isolated strands. So, if we talk about their arrangement, their formation, so the very first when they are forming, okay, when the cambium is forming inside them, they form in a isolated patches. Okay, just some isolated patches will be present there. So they do not have any ring formation, or they do not have any center position. They are just present in a some one, two, three, four isolated patches that you can say that present differently. They are not connected yet. So in some plant, these first formed strands soon become united laterally by additional similar strand formed between them and by the lateral extension of the first formed strand. So now what happened? For the secondary growth formation, we needed to these isolated strands to be present together in a ring formation. So for this ring formation, that whatever the isolated strands we got from the procambium, now what we have to do, what we need is to make them in a ring formation. So forming inside a ring, what we needed some another strands which have to be present in between these isolated strands. So when those strands will be present in between these strands, so and some extension of this primitive strands, they will lead to the formation of a particular ring formation, or you can say they will be connected to each other by some intermediate fascicular or interfascicular cambiums. I will show you the diagram here. You can see these. If we talk about this, okay. Suppose this is the fascicular cambium, and the gaps between here, they are the isolated present. Okay, this is a primary phloem and primary xylem. But if the center one, that is a provascular tissue, that will convert it into the cambium tissue. So if we see, they will be present like this. They are the two isolated patches. Okay, but what we need to them in this formation. So if we wanted them to be present like this, we need something in between them. Okay, so this in between positions, these two, they are the interfascicular cambium. Okay, and this one, the large vascular bundle patches, these, they are the fascicular one. So if we wanted them to be form a proper ring, so for their proper ring formation, what we need them to be aligned, to be present together. And for their together presence, we need an intermediate, that is interfascicular, and we need extension of these fascicular canals. So there will be two things will be present here to form the ring formation. Very first thing to be present the interfascicular cambium, and second thing the extension of the fascicular cambium. So this is our fascicular, this is our interfascicular. So we needed to extend this and we needed to form this to form a ring-like appearance inside a plant body. So now, during further development, his procambial cylinder gave rise to a cylinder of primary vascular tissue, that is xylem and phloem and cambium. So now, when the procambial cylinder develop, they will be forming three things. First, the xylem and phloem, that are the primary xylem and primary phloem, and second thing is here is a cambium. So these collectively three things, but total if we see, so one vascular tissue and one cambium tissue will be formed by the procambial activity. Later on, the cylinder of these secondary vascular tissue is formed that arise and stand as is the primary cylinder. So whenever the secondary growth time comes, they will again develop like the how the procambial activity make this first strand formation, first cylinder formation. The same cylinder, primary cylinder, will be give rising to a secondary cylinder in the form of secondary xylem and secondary phloem. So here is some example of like in ranunculus and some other herbaceous plant, the procambium strand and the primary vascular tissue do not fuse laterally but remain as discrete strands. But what happened inside of some plants, like the ranunculus and some other herbaceous plant, like we are talking about, they needed to make a ring. Okay, they need to make a ring for their secondary growth. But what happened inside some plants, they do not need that ring formation for their development. But this is very rare condition. Not every plant work in that situation. Only some certain plant, then they can do the secondary growth even without getting fused and form a ring. So this is a very, you can say this is a very rare situation. Not every plant do that way. We already studied this diagram. So like more often in herbaceous stem, the cambium extended laterally across the intervening space until a complete cylinder is formed. So, but more oftenly, what happened? The cambium have to be extended laterally. Laterally means side by side. Across the intervening spaces means whatever the space which is present in between them. Okay, intervening space. This space. This space have to be filled by the cambium, and for the filling of this, they form these all characters. So, where such extension occur, the cambium arise from interfascicular meristematic cell. So now this interfascicular meristematic cell give rise to the interfascicular cambium. So now then we are having this interfascicular cambium, and and the initial one, that is the fascicular cambium. These will be collectively called the cambium. Okay. So the strip of cambium that arise within collateral bundle are known as the fascicular cambium. So in between the xylem and phloem, which the cambium is present. Okay, this cambium is present between the, you can say, this is the primary phloem towards the outer side, and this is the primary xylem towards the inner side, and this is provascular tissue. So, if the cambium will be developed by this provascular tissue, this is a vascular cambium, and if that develop between xylem and phloem, this will be called fascicular cambium, and this interfascicular cambium should be in between two fascicular cambium, and that is developed by the interfascicular meristematic cell, or you can say whatever the meristematic cell will be present between two fascicular bundle can give rise to interfascicular cambium. So the cambium strip found in between the bundle as known as interfascicular cambium. So now I think we understand how the fascicular or interfascicular cambium build up, or also that without this interfascicular or fascicular cambium, there will be no ring formation. And if there is no ring formation, then there will be no secondary growth happens inside the plant. Now this is all about the origin. Now we have a cambium that is set up. Now what we see that their duration, like all the cell which has been formed there, what are their duration and what there are lives. So if we talk about their duration, so they are the functional life of the cambium that varies greatly in different species. So mostly the very first step that they are this diversity of their duration, that is specific, means every species they are having different kind of life, or you can say the different varieties. Like some of the cambium can live the 2 or 3 years, some can live the 20 to 30 years, and some can live entirely their lifespan. Means however the plant will live, the cambium will be live the same, but it can be different when it vary to species. So also in different part of the same plant, in a perennial woody plant, the cambium of the main stem live from the time of its formation until the death of the plant. So you can see that like the perennial wood plant. Okay, perennial plant are those which are having a so long life inside them. So if a plant which are having like the mango tree or some you can say neem tree or people tree, so they are very long perennial plants. Okay, woody, they are also woody, they are also perennial. So if the cambium is forming inside a perennial woody plant, their life can be very long, or you can say they will be present inside that plant until the death of the plant. So they are having also the perennial life. It is only by the continued activity of the cambium in producing new xylem and phloem that such plant can maintain their existence. But for maintaining their existence, they need to grow and they need to divide throughout their life. So the cambium have to make the xylem and phloem inside. So that's why when we cut a plant, we see a ring formation inside them. So every year the new xylem and new phloem will be developed. They depend on the seasonal activity. When we will going to study the seasonal activity, then we will be clear that how they are making new xylem and new phloem in each and every year. So that such plants can maintain their existence, like in leaves, inflorescence, and other deciduous part. The functional life of the cambium is short. In the stem, their life is very long, or you can say the life of cambium is very long. But if we are talking about the leaf, or some other part, that is the deciduous part or inflorescence, so these part do not have a long life inside a plant. Like flower just can be remain for like 5 days or 6 days. If we talk about leaf will be also like 2 month or 3 month. After that, if they are deciduous plant, they will be fall off when in the autumn come. So these things which do not have a very long life spanity, like the leaves, like the inflorescence or other deciduous part, they do not have a very much longer life of the cambium. So their cambium functional life is very short as comparison to the stem. So here all the cambium cell mature as a vascular tissue. The secondary xylem is directly found upon the secondary phloem in such bundles. So when we see this short lifetime of the cambium, so there all the cambium cell mature as a vascular tissue. So they do not need any cambium cell to be remain with for the further formation. Why? Because their functional activity of cambium is very short. So that's why what they do, they convert all the cambial cell into the vascular tissue, because they do not need any cambial cell further, because they do not need to regrow, because the life of the thing which they are present in the very short. That's why the whole secondary tissue will be formed by the cambial tissue. Next here you can see the diagram also. There are some obliterated phloem here in a very top, this, and they are the metaphloem, and the xylem will be present very downward position. Phloem always present to the upper side, or you can say they always present towards the periphery. And this metaxylem or xylem tissue, they always present towards the inner position or towards the pit position. Phloem always above and xylem always towards the pit. So these are the parenchymatous cells which are basically storing the material for these protoxylem stages obliterate. Always remember the metaxylem, they are the larger tissue. Okay, and protoxylem, they are the smaller one. And they are also the protoxylem, they are or most of the time they are towards the stages of obliteration, and they are oval in shape and they are literal hexagon metaxylem. So this is a development, you can say this is a development of the procambium activity for the conversion into the phloem and xylem, and they also have some meristematic cell in between them. So these meristematic cell between a xylem and phloem, that is going to give rise to the secondary xylem or phloem, or you can say the cambium tissue. Now this is about the duration we talk about. Now we will see the function of cambium, how the cambium function. So majority of the function, or you can say the combination of the function, is all about the secondary growth. Okay, this is a major, you can say the major goal or major motive of the cambium is to present here, that is they need to form the secondary tissue, and how they will do that, we will see it. So the meristem that forms secondary tissue, that is consist of uniserrate sheet of initial that form new cell usually on both the sides. So the meristem, basically if we're talking about the cambium, this is fundamentally, or you can say originally, they are the cell of meristem, meristematic cell which grow. So that's why their basic nature of this cambium, that is meristematic. So meristematic cell, they always divide, and when they divide, in the case of cambium, they are making the uniserrate sheet of initial that form new shell on the both the side, towards the inner side and towards the outer side. So when this cambium form xylem internally and phloem externally. So when this cambium divide, they will be formed the xylem internally and phloem outward in condition. So this is called the tangential division. Okay, this what this is called. This is called the tangential division. So the tangential division of the cambial cell form two apparently identical daughter cells. So when this tangential division happen inside the cell, this is called one or two. Okay, this is called the tangential cells. So in this way, they will forming the tissue. Like this is not the the means characterized diagram for the cambium, but they are showing some passage cell here. Okay, we talked about very well time of the passage cell, which are the transporting cells, and they are also present in between the cell in the interfascicular cambium. So that's why this the broad one, they are the fascicular one, and the very limiting factor, very elongated one, they are the interfascicular cambium. They divide up down in conditions, and these are they divide in the lateral in the conditions. So one of the daughter cell remains meristematic. Now, when they divide tangentially means side by side. Like if the suppose this is a cell, and they are dividing upward in condition, one above side and second lower side. So this is called the tangential division. That is happen inside the cambium. So what happened in that case? One of the daughter cell remain meristematic, and the persistent cambial cell of the become a xylem mother cell or a phloem mother cell, depending upon the position internal or external to the initial. So the cambial cell that is divide continuously in a similar way. So what happened when this persistent cambial cell that become a xylem mother cell and the phloem mother cell that are developing into the position internal and external to the initial. So before they are going to convert into a xylem, secondary xylem cell or secondary phloem cell, what they do, they make a xylem mother cell and a phloem mother cell. Only the xylem mother cell and the phloem mother cell can give rise to the secondary xylem and secondary phloem. Not any other cell can give rise to, not directly cambium cell give rise to secondary xylem and phloem. What give rise to secondary xylem and phloem? That are the mother cell of xylem and phloem. So the cambium cell divide continuously in a similar way. One daughter cell always remain meristematic, the cambium cell, whereas the other become either a xylem or a phloem mother cell. So this is happen whenever the cambium divide or whenever a cell divide, they will be formed into two cells. So one of that two cell, one will always be the cambium cell, okay, because they need to divide further. So that's why one always be converted into the cambium cell, and second cell that can be the if they are present outward, they will be the mother cell of phloem, or if they are present towards the inner side, they will be the mother cell of xylem, which give rise to a xylem or phloem cell. So there are two general conception of the cambium as the initiating layer, that it consists of a uniserate layer of permanent initial with derivatives which may divide a few times and soon become converted into the permanent tissue. So here for there are two concepts about their functioning. First is that they will be consist of a uniserate layer of permanent initial. Means they were present, or you can say they consist of one single layer. Uniserate is a single layer. Consists of a uniserate layer of permanent initial and derivatives which may divide a few times and soon become converted into the permanent tissue. So initially they are like a meristematic tissue, they are dividing. But after some time, when they get maturity, they will convert it to the permanent tissue. Because of the why we are calling them the permanent tissue, because they lose their ability to divide. And when some cell lose the ability to divide, they will be converted into the permanent tissue. So that's why, in a very first phase, they will be like dividing cell, meristematic cell. But after having some maturity, they will be converting into the permanent cells. There are several rows of initiating cells which form a cambium zone, like a few cambium individual rows of which persist a cell-forming layer of for some time. So, in the second opinion, there will be several rows of the limiting initiating cells. What happened in a first concept? There are just one single layer, which is going all the way. But in the second concept, that there are several, means many rows of initiating cell, which form a cambium zone. So in a first concept, there are only one layer which are going to form the cambium zone. But in the second concept, there are several layers which are going to form the cambium zone. So a few individual rows of which persist as cell-forming layer for some time. So out of these many layers, some layers they will be do the formation of cells for the some time, or you can say they do the cell-forming layers or making the cell dividation process. So during growing period, the cell mature continuously on both the side of cambium. It become quite obvious that only a single layer of cell can have permanent existence as cambium. But out of these, all the cells which are dividing towards the outer or inner side, only one layer, or you can say only single layer of the cell that will be permanent and they will be existence as a cambium. So this is the two concept. One said there will be one layer or initially that behave like the meristematic and after they will be formed the permanent tissue. Second concept say there are so many layers and some of these layers behave like the dividing cells and some them get maturity. But only one layer after all these cells they will be behave like the permanent tissue or you can say the cambium. So this is the two concept that has been given by several scientists. Other layer at that time when just one layer get to be permanent, at that time what happened to other layer? If they present, function only temporarily and become completely transformed into the permanent cells. So if they will be present or they are doing the function, okay, that function they are dividing function, that will be the temporarily, and after some time they will be completely converted into the permanent cell. So, in a strict sense, only the initial constituents of the cambium, but frequently the term is used but refer as the cambial zone because it is difficult to distinguish the initial from their recent derivatives. So now, whatever the things forming here, there are the last goal of that they have to make a strict or non-dividing or permanent zone of the cambium here. But sometimes it is very hard. Like if we wanted to identify that permanent tissue from their just recent derivatives because they look alike, means they look similar in very features like their shape, their size, their formation zone. So that's why it is difficult sometimes to identify them. Now, if we see the cellular structure of cambium, so there are two different type of cambial cell. The very first is the ray initial. So the ray initial, they are more or less isodiametric and give rise to vascular rays. Now I will show you the diagram of rays. These are the rays. These are called the isodiametric set, and these are the that's why they are called the vascular rays. This formation is called a vascular rays. So these are the first type of the cell of cambium. This is called ray initials. They are more or less isodiametric and give rise to vascular rays. And second cell are the fusiform initial. So the fusiform initial, which will going to make the fascicular or interfascicular cambium. So the fusiform initial, the elongated tapering cells divide to form all cells of the vertical system. So these are the two cells, ray cells and the fusiform cells. Now the cambial cell, they are highly vacuolated, usually with one large vacuole and thin peripheral cytoplasm. So basically, these cambial cells, why are they highly vacuolated? Because the cambial cell need a lot energy to divide and form the secondary tissue. That's why they are having the vacuole, and vacuole is basically storing their water and food material. Nucleus is large, and in the fusiform cell is just much elongated. So in the case of fusiform initials or fusiform cell, their nucleus is a large in shape. The wall of cambial cell have primary pit filled with plasmodermata. So why the plasmodermata pitted is present on their cell for the transportation process. If anything wanted to come inside the cell and go outside the cell, so they need some passing channels. So these are the pits which present on their wall and they work for the transformation from inside to outside or outside to inside. So the radial walls are thicker than tangential wall and their primary pit field are deeply depressed. So their radial wall, they are the thicker than the tangential wall. So and their primary pit field are deeply depressed. Why this radial wall are thicker? Because when they are going to form the secondary tissue, so at the time of secondary tissue formation, they got some pressure on their walls. So because they are forming upward and downward in condition, so that's why their radial walls needed to be thicker, because whatever the pressure they are going to have by the forming of the secondary tissue, they needed to bear that. So that's why their walls are little thicker. This is a whole cambium activity you can see in a one diagram. Like this is the first a very one portion of the cambium. Then cambium first forms xylem. Okay, to the inner side there will be the first form xylem. Then the second form xylem here. Third form xylem. In this way, xylem forming cambium forming the strands of xylem. First forming xylem, second form xylem, third form xylem. Now, there will be the first formed phloem in a E diagram, this purple one. That is the first formed phloem that will always towards the outer side of the cambium, xylem always towards the inner side. That is the second formed phloem. So in this way, they are increasing their girth. Okay, they are increasing their girth position. They are dividing side by side. Not take it look like they are increasing the length of the plant, they are increasing the girth of the plant. So now this is all about the cambium, how the cambium originate or function. So there are some questions. So we will be taking a look. And the waxy substance associated with the wall of the cork cell, a tissue that does not contain lignin, lateral root originated in which give rise to cork tissue, which is the external protective tissue of the plant. So these are some very related questions of your vascular cambium. And you can see the anatomy of the plant basically. The Casparian strips are present in apical meristem of root found in what part of the plant. Bordered pit are found in where the epiphytes are velum cell located. So these are the questions that are going to be helpful for the plant anatomy portion, and there are some references also. If you have any confusion, you can go through them too, or you can ask me if you wanted to, if you didn't understand anything.
No, ma'am.